My mother tongue is actually Kwangari, and it's a language from Namibia. And my mother was telling me this, like, the time I went to Pretoria, I think it was 2 weeks back. She said, we are Vakwangombe, that's how they call it, yeah. But I wouldn't know how to explain it in English, yeah. It's a Vakwangombe. I actually grew up here, and yeah, and I've never been to Namibia actually. I was only there when I was still young. No, I don't know much. I'm actually planning to go there like next year. Yeah, and I also got family because my father is from Angola, yeah. So I've both families in Angola and Namibia. Yes, I speak Portuguese. I learned it at home, even here at school. I learned Portuguese at school, especially during primary time. Yeah, in Freiburg. Yeah, we're doing Portuguese. My father actually was in the army, South African National Defense Force. So when they were moved this side, like I'm not good with history, but they say before 1990, when Namibia got independent, it was formerly called Southwest Africa, like it was part of South Africa. Yeah, so they were recruited that side by the former South African Defense Force. So when Mandela was about to be released, they were brought this side. Yeah, and then they built houses, schools, and everything for us there. Yeah. So after the release of Nelson Mandela, that's when we were like scattered as well, you see. And my father was transferred to Emelo there. Yeah, that's where we're staying up until 1997 when he resigned from the army. And then we came to Rustenburg this side. That's where we are based even now. Yeah, he was part of 32 Battalion, yes. Yeah, according to, apparently, these people were under South African Defense Force fighting against their own in Angola. Not here in South Africa, in Angola. Yeah, you see. I remember they were called like the terrible ones. Unfortunately, my dad is late actually. He passed away in 2005, yeah. But they are still veterans, Some who are still alive, yeah. Yeah. My own siblings, the younger ones than me. Even if you meet them, they speak in Tswana. It will be, it will take you, I don't know how many days for you to recognize that no, these people or this person is not like original Tswana, yeah. They grew up, they went to Tswana school, they speak Tswana at home, even on the street with their friends. Yeah, so it's Tswana all over. Yes, I speak. Yes, I do speak. Yeah, but not like them. They are very fluent, Yeah, because they went to Tswana school. So unfortunately for me, I just learn it on the streets and from my friends. Yeah, the language that I speak a little bit, that I know better, is Zulu. Yeah, I actually learned that while I was in prison. Yeah, ngiyakhuluma. And there was a time when I was still in prison. I actually used to interpret for a Zulu preacher. He would preach in Zulu or Xhosa, and then I'll translate in English, and we'll flow together in the same spirit. Zulu I speak it better than Tswana. Actually, by the time we're still in Namibia, that's when actually my time was like away from home. My father was away from home a lot. But now when we moved this side, he would be away from home maybe for 2-3 months, and then he'll come for 6 months. After that, we'll go back again, you see. Yeah, so growing up, we're very close, me and my siblings. Yeah, we're very, very close. We're best friends, so we looked out for each other. My mom was also working. So when my father was actually transferred to Emelo, my sister went and stayed with my dad to attend school that side. So I was the one who was like looking after my siblings, my younger brothers and sisters, when my mother was away at work. Yeah, it was not so bad. It was not so bad up until we moved to Emelo. Yeah, and then my dad, was like drinking alcohol like uncontrollably, like nobody's business. Yeah, that's when things started to like, be a bit difficult for everyone actually, because there are times he wouldn't support us, he would take his money, and spend it on alcohol. Fortunately, my mom was working, so the little that she was getting, she would like try and sustain the family, carry the family, yeah. There was a time actually, I don't know what happened, but there was a time after a long time when he left the army, yeah. After a few years, he stopped drinking. The only thing he was doing was like smoking, yeah. So I don't know how or what happened, but all I knew is that there was a time came in his life where he stopped drinking and he decided to like be responsible, look after his family now, you see. Yeah, this is what happened to him, yeah. Just before he died, actually, like, yeah, I can say like 10 years before he died, he quit drinking alcohol. Then he was looking after us, even though we're already old, Yeah, but yeah, this is what actually happened, yeah. And I don't think many of these former soldiers attended counseling after they left the force. I don't think so. I'm not sure, but I don't, recall anyone telling me, or an uncle, because I'm still close to some of them. Yeah, I'm still close to some of them, but I don't remember any of them mentioning that, no, we attended counseling and stuff like that. But you could see the effect that was caused during the time of war, yeah. Some of them, they like lost their mind and things like that, yeah. And believe me, when I was in Pomfret, there are those who still have that mentality, Yeah, they think they're still in the army. They want people to address them according to their ranks in the army, yeah. When you meet them, you need to, salute and all these things, Yeah, so I say, hey, I don't know what's happening, but it's difficult for these people to accept that they are no longer in the army. They are now civilians. They need to live a normal life, you see. So this thing has actually hurt them. It had hurt them a lot, yeah. When my father was still in the army, it was actually normal, because we're staying in an environment or area where there are only armies and their family. Yes, so we're like mixed up, colored, whites and blacks, not only blacks from Namibia, but also South African, yeah. So we were trying by all means to adapt, to learn their language, yeah. So it was not that difficult. They also wanted to learn our language, or we end up speaking English. This is how it was, yeah. It wasn't like difficult. Up until we moved to Rustenburg, yes. Yeah, that's when I started actually, experiencing things like, xenophobia, but it was not that much. But when I went to prison now, yeah, that's when I felt it, I felt it. In prison, actually, there is too much, like xenophobia. Let me put it like this: xenophobia, yes, yeah, because of, if you are not a citizen, there are certain privileges, that you will be deprived from, you see. Yeah, even when they're like, foreigners this side, because they will need to be deported, especially even when you are arguing, you're fighting with a South African, he will always remind you that Mausugala, they are going to deport you. Mina, I'm at home. Mina, Nsekaya, Mina. That, yeah, but as for me, this thing did not worry me much because I knew who I was. I would tell them, you know what, I may not be speaking your language, but it doesn't mean that I'm an outsider. When I leave prison, I'll go back to the very same community where you're coming from, and you'll meet me outside. We'll like live a normal life. Yeah, so it was painful, it was hard, but there's nothing one could do, yeah, except maybe pray about the situation. Yeah, before I was arrested, um, my highest grade was grade 11. Yeah, it was grade 11. I dropped out actually. I felt like I was no longer, fit to be at school. I needed to work, Yeah, because I could see some of my peers were already working, so I wanted the same thing for myself. That's when I dropped off school. I went to Joburg and started working, yeah. Growing up, actually, I felt like my parents were hard on us boys and they were soft on girls, Yeah, especially me, they would like punish me a lot, Even for the sins of my brothers and sisters, They would say that, no, because you are the eldest, we left them under your responsibility. So whenever they do something wrong, we punish you, not them, you see. So I felt like they were very, very, very hard on me. That's when I, also peer pressure, I said, no, I think it's best if I just quit school, go find work, yeah, and then start supporting and take care of myself, yeah. Okay, what actually happened was I was working for this company. It's a security company in Joburg. Yes, I used to work there. And then in the street where I was working, the place where I was working, it was in Sandton, Hyde Park. So there was a street that was closed, you see. So they put us there. We were like 6, if I'm not mistaken. 2 during the day, 2 during the night, and 2 they will be like during their off days, yeah. So while I was there, I met a guy. He used to work for that company as well, but then he quit. So this guy, he joined a certain gang who were involved in criminal activities. So they would go and rob, come back to the barracks where we were staying, and they would like flash money around us, give me money, money that I was actually making in a month. They would like give it to me in an hour, in a second, you understand? So they would like take me out, we go to these clubs, nightclubs in Joburg, enjoy. I said, nah, man, you know what? I'm actually wasting my time working, Why don't I join these guys, and make fast money? I'll have money all the time. I'll drive the cars that they are like driving, you see. So this is what actually prompted me, to sit down with them. I said, guys, what you guys are actually doing is not right, because you are constantly, each and every week, you commit crime. Why don't you come to the place where I'm working, because once you hit that area, even one house, believe you me, it will be like hitting a jackpot. You will never commit crime in your life again. You see, because at that time also I was under pressure. I wanted to buy a house. So I was short of money. I only had a little bit of money. It was not enough. So the first group, gang that I called, they were from Soweto. They came and like surveyed the place. That place is very tight with security. So they said, no, hey, lenda ole, ifuni mutila. You cannot just enter easily like this. It's easy to enter, even though you will give us information, but to come out, it will need us to have muti. So I looked at them like, these guys are cowards, you understand me? Let me find another one. I find another gang from Tembisa. They said the same thing. And then these ones who were always here next to me, I spoke to them. They asked me, how much money is in there? I said, I'm not sure, but the house where you guys are supposed to go and rob, I believe there's a lot of money there, because the owner of the house is very, very close to me. There are times he would give us like money, put money in an envelope, and then he'll write all our names, and he'll give it to me because he trusted me. He said, this envelope is for so and so, this one is for so and so, this one is yours. So I would open the envelopes and see how much is in there. If it's like 500 rand, I'll take 400 from each envelope, buy new envelope because it was not far from ShopRite. Then write their names again with the 100 rand in the envelope and said, no, this is from Mr. You understand me? Remember, guys, you are not allowed to speak to the client. You understand? This is what I'll tell them. Even in the company, this is what they told us, that you don't speak to the client unless the client asks you something. So in return, because I was the first one to be working there, I'll tell them the same thing, just to avoid, them having that relationship with the client. Then the client will end up asking them, how did you get your money? And things like that. Yeah, so there's this scripture that I love in the Bible, it says, bad company corrupt good character. Even though I did not have a good character at the time, but I never thought of like stealing, committing robbery. That was the last thing on my mind. But because of our spending more time with people who were committing crime, I was actually influenced, and then I started planning, whenever I go to work, talk to my client, he invite me in the house to give me breakfast, I'll be like, my eyes will be all over. What is it that I can steal in this house? Up until I called these guys, I said, you know what, this guy has money. Because he's always traveling. South Africa, Europe, South Africa. If it's not Australia, it's England, you see. So there's money in his house. Then the guys asked me, are you sure that there's money there? I said, of course there's money. Did you see it? I said, yes. There's a safe in the dining room, and there's another safe also in the main bedroom, the master bedroom. There's a safe. And I told them that it's going to be easy for you guys to go and rob in there because the owners, they are old, you see. So I'm the one who's gonna let you guys in. You guys can even sleep there. You just tie them, sleep there, relax. No one is gonna come here without me knowing. So we sat and planned this thing for like a week. And the guys, because they wanted money so desperately, when they heard that they will find a lot of money there. So they decided to do it like in 3 days' time. So they gave me a phone where I was going to communicate with them. So there were actually 2 guys that came in. One remained. The driver was like outside. So when they came, because I already gave them the information, I said the owner of the house will actually come back 8 o'clock. This is where he's gonna park his car, Okay, because you are the tallest and fit, you are going to grab the husband, and you are going to grab the wife. Don't worry about security. Don't even worry about the garden boys and the domestic worker. In fact, let's do this. Before we wait for the owners to arrive, you guys go in, knock there. There's a door that separates the rooms of the domestic worker and the garden boys. And then they will ask, who is it? Just tell them security. When they hear that it's security, they'll just open the door. That's when you guys tie them up. Okay? They went in. They did as I told them. They knocked at the door. One of the garden boy came, but he's old, but they called them garden boy. Yeah, he came. They arrested them. Hey, that old man was a bit tough. So they struggled. There was a struggle at the door there. I could hear poo, 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 poo. I'm like, what's happening with this guy? 2 against 1. Come on, man. But later, the noise subsided. They actually got hold of that old man. There were 2 old men and 1 old woman there. They managed to grab them and tie them. And then I was on the street there. I called them. I said, what's happening? They told me, no, we managed to tie the domestic worker and the 2 garden boys. I say, okay, good. Now take your positions. You remember where I told you the owner will come and park. As soon as he entered the gates, I'm going to call you guys. Both of them were armed. But this other one, I discovered later that he forgot the magazine in the car and he was drunk. He was drunk actually. Yes, but they were both armed. So immediately when the owner came into the compound, like on the street, because it was locked, I called them. I said, guys, the guy is on his way now, so take your position. Okay. The owner came in, he greeted me, and then he went, parked his car. So the guy grabbed them. The guys, they grabbed the husband and the wife, you see. And then after 5 minutes, I saw an ADT security responding to an alarm, but he was at another house, you see. But because he was in my area, you see, so I had to go and ask what is happening, pretending as if, you understand. So I asked him, is everything okay? He said, no, actually there's an alarm, that activated in house number 63. And mind you, house number 63 is where my guys were. So I had no choice, because I was working that night when I let my guys in. And I wanted it to look as if I know nothing. So I told them that, at first I thought, what should I do now? Because these guys, the alarm activated where my guys are. What should I do? If I lie to him, something happens there. They're going to know that I had something to do with it. So I just told them the truth. So as he was walking towards that house, I called my guys inside. I said, guys, please make sure that all the doors are locked. Remain quiet. Don't move. There's a ADT security coming. They said, okay. Okay, he went. After 2-3 minutes, he came out. I was so relieved because I thought that he was leaving. You understand? So my hands were like shaking because it was my first time doing this. My hands were shaking. Everything was shaking actually. And I had a firearm. You see. So he went to his car. He took out a radio. I thought maybe he was giving a report. Now everything is in order. There's nothing. He spoke on the radio, but I could not hear. Then he put down the radio, and then he took out his firearm. He breached it like this. And that's when I realized that there is something that he noticed there. I called back those guys and said, what is happening there? He said, no, nothing. I said, no, this ADT guy is coming again. This ADT security is coming, and this time he drew his firearm. Like there is something that he saw. He said, okay, don't worry. I'll take care of him. That's what the guy said. So as he entered, I followed him again and asked, what's happening? He said, no, I find one of the garden boys tied up. Actually, all of them, they are tied up. I think they are robbers in this house. You see? So I thought to myself, what should I do now? I called these guys. I said, okay. I told the ADT security that, no, you know what? Let me quickly call my office. I need to report this. So I went back. I called the guys. I said, guys, you need to run away because this ADT knows that there's something wrong there. So run for your life. Those guys, they said, okay. So I called the office as well. I told them that, no, there's a robbery actually, in progress here. There's a robbery that is taking place. You see, so as I dropped the phone like this, I heard gunshots. Pa, 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 pa. Then I ran into the yard. As I was running into the yard like this, I saw 2 other ADT cars responding. So I returned, and then I came and told them what is happening. They ran back inside. One of them was also shot.